Hey, everybody. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. And I'm super excited today because I've got Rocco on here. And if you're curious as to what's going on with mortgages and what's going to happen in 2021, we're going to unpack that. We're going to cover it. And we're going to get to that here in just a moment. We're going to talk about it. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. What's going on, Rocco? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm super excited because I know there's a lot of changes that are going to be going on going into 2021. There's going to be a lot of new things, and rates seem to be at an all-time low. So I'm super excited to talk to you about that, find out a little bit more about the mortgage market and the arena. And if for everyone who doesn't know about you, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, maybe give a little background.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Rocco DeStefanis. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I started in mortgage back in 2005. I actually graduated college and was looking for a medical device sales job and couldn't find one. And so I was getting frustrated and went and talked to a guy that I had known at a previous job who worked in the mortgage field. And I sat across from him, I said, tell me about mortgages. And he said, do you want to come work for me? And I said, sure. I was selling cell phones at the time, so anything else sounded better. And fast forward, it's actually now it's going to be 16 years here in March. Like I said, I've just been doing mortgage lending nonstop. You're right. I could talk a little bit about, Fifth Third Bank. I was at a bank for 15 years of my career, and for the last year, I've been with Caliber Home Loans.
Nice.
Yeah. So Caliber.
Paper, Fifth Third, is that mostly A paper?
Yeah, Fifth Third does a lot of the same stuff that most any other lenders do, but not as many programs as I can do now, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So Caliber, you just opened that up in Ohio, which is amazing. What would you say is kind of the niche? What do you guys work on? What's the focus? What do you guys offer?
Yeah. So when I was sort of growing complacent, being at the same employer for as long as I was, I started researching top companies in the country for mortgage lending, and I was looking for ones that were not in Northeast Ohio. Caliber is the 7th largest lender in the country, but had no presence in the Cleveland market. So I started doing my research. Niche market, we do all the, as you said, A paper stuff, the black and white, your conventional, your FHA, your VA. But we do, some of the stuff we did was suspended during COVID, but we could talk about that later. Renovation lending we do. We had a bunch of great investor programs, your construction lending. So even the stuff that's not your normal, as someone I work with likes to call chocolate and vanilla, we do that stuff as well. But one of the great things about Caliber that really attracted me to the company was I could do more for people more efficiently. Technology was something that drove me really big time. I have an app now. You can apply on an app. I have a personal website I wasn't able to have in my previous employer. We do a lot of digital verifications. So some employers, we can verify that you work there just by clicking a button. We can verify how much money you have by clicking a button. Requires a lot less paperwork. So there's a lot of cool technology things that they're charging ahead on that some other companies I think are still behind on.
That's music to my ears already, because I remember doing a loan not too long ago, and I mean it was I don't want to say it was a nightmare, but it wasn't fun. I remember I was getting all kinds of different documents and things I had to show and go through this, do that. Now it seems like you guys are condensing the time frame a little bit more where, and I'm not saying it's per se you're doing it faster, but it's less work on the borrower. Is that pretty fair to say?
Yeah. So there's a lot of work, obviously, that the buyer has to do.
Of course.
Yeah. So we make it a little bit easier here at Caliber. There's been tools that have been in production for a long time in this world. They're not available to all lenders. So there's this thing called day one certainty. You'll find more lenders starting to adopt this down the road. But basically, like I said, let's say you work for Ford. I can literally, at pre-approval status, verify how much your income is, how much it was in the past. I don't have to collect W-2s from you because it's all online through payroll companies. That's just one small example. But yeah, we're trying to streamline the process for the borrower. If you look at technology and how fast it's moving, our head of our retail department said they want to see, it's going to be normal to see application to closing on a loan within 15 days. I mean, you have companies like Amazon that are talking about getting into mortgages.
What are they not going to get into? They're getting into mortgages. Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
Yep. And so, and then Amazon's known for what? Speed, right?
Speed,
so and anybody who's bought a house in the last 10 years, let's say, knows that it's a pretty convoluted process. So we're working on ways to streamline that process. And it all starts with technology. Without technology, you could not streamline the process.
Got it. No, totally makes sense. I mean, and it's just interesting because, like I said, the last time I did a deal, I mean, it was going on for almost 5 years now. The technology wasn't there, so it makes a huge difference. That's great. Well, for everyone that's watching, by the way, I got a comment here from, I believe this is your significant other. So Aubrey, Riley, and Zoe said, "Hi, Daddy." So that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, for everyone though that's watching, obviously streamlining technology, moving things faster, getting through the process, creating raving fans and creating a following makes a huge difference in any business. And I believe the easier you can make it on the end user, the better. So I'm assuming that was probably one of the catalysts for you to make the leave from Fifth Third and going over to Caliber because you had the ability to streamline and do things a little bit differently. Is that pretty fair to say?
Yeah. And so if you look at my business, it's referral business. It's really generated from the real estate community. Obviously your past clients, builders, and then other centers of influence, but it is all referrals. And so what you want is, just like anything, if you have somebody say, go see my friend to get their car repaired, you want that person to have a phenomenal experience. So for real estate agents, for instance, and some of our builders, they now have an app and they can track at any time. They can see where the loan is in the process. You want phenomenal service. You want to exceed expectations at all times. And that's really always the goal.
What about as far as like new loans, construction loans? You brought something up that a lot of lenders don't do. And I think that this is a huge game changer. You brought up something about renovation. So are you talking about where, I can't remember the technical name for it, but when you're buying a home, they give you like 30 or 40 grand towards the repairs. Is that something that you guys do, or what's, the loan I'm talking about?
Yep.
I think it's like an FHA product.
So there's two products. Yeah. The big one is the FHA one, which is called 203K lending. There is a conventional product, which is not as well known, but basically it's as simple as you buy a property. And for those who don't know, if you're going to buy a property and it's falling apart, most lenders will not loan on that property. So if it's missing flooring, if it has mold, that like it really needs renovation, you can get a loan and you can roll in the cost of those repairs into the loan at the time you do the loan. You can also do additions. So if you want to buy a property, but you want to add a garage, you want to add a whole new room at the same time, those options are available as well. A little bit more complicated process, but it's definitely an option.
So a little insider's info from you. And I know, obviously, we can't talk too much on rates. I know how that goes. But I mean, I know rates are insanely low. And I remember, I mean, I literally just started looking around. I saw something in the 2% range, and I was blown away by that. I mean, 2% interest is unheard of.
Yep.
What are your, I mean, what's kind of the range that you guys offer as far as like, and again, I know you're not quoting. I'm just curious, like, where are they at? And do you see them going up, staying the same? What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
no one really.
So rates do vary depending upon a number of circumstances, but in general, rates are right now in the high twos for like a 30-year rate, 2.7 on average. If you look at the 40-year history of mortgage rates, you know, it's down here. It's the lowest it's ever been. And I remember back in 2010, 2009, I was refinancing a bunch of people. And then I remember because rates fell around 4%, and they're like, are they going to go lower? I'm like, I can't see them going any lower. And I keep saying that every year. Last year I said that I can't see them going any lower because nobody's ever seen them go lower. So you have projections, and they are projected. The Mortgage Bankers Association thinks rates will be somewhere in the low threes by the end of 2021.
Which is still so low. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We know you get spoiled with these 2% rates. 3 is very low. 4 is very low. Matt, I don't know your exact age, but our parents were buying houses at 9, 10, 11, 12%. So even rates when they moved to 5 were extremely low. So housing affordability is going to be, it's going to, for a long time, it's going to be very, very good.
It's crazy too to think, because I remember we used to have a saying when I worked at Quicken Loans. It was 599, you out your mind. Like literally, because we were offering rates at 5.99%, but we were refinancing people down from like 11 and 12.
Right.
And I'm like, how the hell are these rates so high? I mean, there were people that were at 10%, 9%, 8%. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. And then at 5.99, we were, it was like everybody was profitable, everyone was saving money, people were happy. And now you look at it and it's like, I haven't seen a rate in the 4s or 5s for I can't even tell you how long. I mean, usually most people are 3s and 2s, and it seems like you guys also loosened up. And again, I know every bank is a little different, but have you seen kind of a loosening up of some of the guidelines as far as like credit score and things like that? Because when you make that type of move, especially with you being now Caliber, do you guys have like secondary banks? It's not Caliber that's the actual bank. Is that how that works?
So actually Caliber, one of the unique things about us is we do service 90% of our loans. So
wow.
When I say service,
who
you get your bill from. Caliber's the 3rd largest servicing company in the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are a few programs that we don't service. They're mandated by the state. That's a whole very boring conversation. But we do most of the servicing on almost all of our clients. So we operate a lot like the banks do. Your bill will always come from Caliber. You won't get it from 15 different companies throughout the mortgage. But in terms of guidelines, so in March, when COVID really hit our country, in simple terms, you saw everybody get a little nervous. And what happened was there's rules set for lending. And then what happened, everybody put this sort of saran wrap over it and said, okay, well, these are our rules because of COVID. They called overlays, and everybody got a little nervous. So they increased credit score requirements. They increased documentation requirements, especially if you were self-employed or you had any weird circumstances. Everything really tightened up. As the year went on, and towards the end of last year, and obviously I actually got some more good news this morning, we've seen those guidelines start to loosen back up again. And this happened across the country. And all lenders, I have friends in other companies, same thing. You're slowly seeing things get better and less documentation. I don't want to say less documentation, like you need a ton of documentation, but it's not as crazy as it used to be. So you will see, as long as people are feeling comfortable with the virus, you'll see guidelines move back to normal. The vaccine's obviously a big deal. I don't know how the new administration is going to affect the markets, but the COVID was the big hurdle with all of lending. And it's really, I'll give you a quick example. Our minimum credit score was 580 for an FHA loan. It jumped to 620 during COVID. It's now back down to 580.
I was going to ask you guys if you had the minimum requirements for credit. So 580, that's actually still really good. I mean, so it's a lot looser than what it was. I mean, I remember in the past you could do things at like 520, which was crazy. But I mean, because I was back in mortgages. Actually, when you first said that you were starting, I was also in the industry. I started in 04. So it is totally different world back then. I mean, stated income, stated asset, no income, no assets. I mean, just going straight off credit scores. It was crazy.
Quick and simple loans is what they were called.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of those defaulted, of course, but
hey. And you could still, so if someone's listening, you know, we are 580. There are a few lenders that actually will go lower than that. So there's all these rumors out there that you can't get a house unless you have 20% down and crazy good credit scores, and that's not the case. I know Chase at one point last year you had to have 20% down, but you literally, with some down payment assistance grants for the state, if you're a first-time buyer, you can get in a house with nothing out of pocket.
I wonder how they weathered that storm at 20% down. I mean, because for a $400,000 house was at $80,000. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of money down. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I could not imagine that.
There was a lot of overreactions when COVID hit, and it's thankfully
it's self-corrected. Yeah, it's self-corrected. I mean, yeah. Well, and I've noticed too, like a lot of agents. I mean, our business has been absolutely growing on a grand scale, and it's been amazing. So that's telling me a lot of agents, a lot of people are reinvesting into their business, lead generation, getting themselves set up with having the right representatives, and that helps throughout the entire course of it. So we know consumer confidence is up, because during COVID, it was tough. I mean, we were at a point with our business where I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is like, it was a massive, massive hit, and everything started to come to a grinding halt. And then we started to slowly see some gradual growth in 2020, but 2021 has started off a little chaotic, but it's been great. So I'm always thankful for the chaos, which is good. So for everyone that's watching though, Rocco has been doing this now for going on 16 years. He started off with Fifth Third. He's at Caliber now. CaliberHomeLoans.com. That's what's going across the screen. For anyone that's looking to refinance, purchase, or wants help getting there. Do you guys have credit repair that you refer people off to? Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah. So I have, there's two main companies that pull people's credit reports. I have the ability to run scenarios to see what we can do to help their credit.
They do that too. So there you go. So for everyone that's watching, definitely give Rocco a shot. And I've actually worked with a couple of agents. Christy was one of them that always was like, we got to go through Rocco. Rocco's the greatest. So, I mean, and I have not seen any snags in any of the stuff. And that was when you weren't with Caliber. You were actually with a different bank. So, I mean, I can only imagine now, obviously you've got some more tools at your disposal. You've got some more technology that makes a world of difference. So it's very, very awesome. Rocco, to close everything out here before we get things wrapped up, was there anything that you wanted to tell everybody that's watching, anything that you can think of that just to kind of things to look out for in 2021? Maybe, is now a good time to buy?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah. So this year is a fantastic time to buy just because of interest rates. How much house you can afford. I can't see it ever being any better in terms of what your payment would be on how much you're borrowing. So definitely. And if you're someone who's thinking about selling, any realtor will tell you can get the values are very high because there's very, very high demand right now for a house. So it's a good time to buy and it's a good time to sell. I think it's a great time for housing right now. One other thing I'd like to mention too, if you are ever thought about getting into this sort of industry, or if you're in this industry and you're thinking about making a change, contact us too, because me and another guy that came from banking who's brought Caliber to Northeast Ohio, we are building a team, and we'd love to hear from people who are just even have a conversation about what you're doing now and what sort of changes Caliber could help make you.
Where are you located?
Our first office is in Westlake, Ohio.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yep. We have an office in the
Crocker? You near that area?
Yeah. So there's what's this building called? It's 2001 Crocker. It's the big buildings on the corner of Crocker and Detroit. It's where Keller Williams Greater.
You're literally, wow. That is insane. You're literally in the office where Appointments Today was. We were right across.
Yes.
We were literally, because that's where Al's office was.
Yeah, that's where Al's office was. Yeah. These buildings have a name and I can't think of it.
I can't think of it either, which is really sad because I was there for over 2 years and it's just like totally escaping me right now. But
so we're across from Crocker Park. Like if you go across from Crocker Road to Crocker Park, you'll see us in the corner.
So you got a great location. You've got great bars. You got great diners all right there. So I mean,
hopefully they stay open.
Yes, that is the hope. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that there's some amazing opportunities with where you're located, where you're at, and right now, I mean, the Gemini building. Thank you, that's what it is. I think it's the Gemini building. Yep.
Yes.
So, and your wife knew it too. So there we go. I love it. So there we go. The better halves. The ultimate goal, I believe, right now for anyone that's watching this, I'm in real estate. Obviously, Rocco's mortgage. If you're going to buy a home or sell a home, especially since there's not a lot of inventory, I just priced out my house, and I mean it's a $50,000-$60,000 swing in equity, and I was just blown away by that a couple of years. So I feel like in Ohio, we haven't seen that for a really long time. So with there being so little inventory and then with rates being super low, even if you're buying at the height of the market, you're still getting an amazing rate. So it's a game changer.
Yeah. So some buyers will say, well, I have to pay more because at a very low interest rate. So
it's
your cost to borrow it's insane. It's an amazing time.
It blew me away when I was starting to just kind of look around at figuring out what was going on in the area. And it's always good to just see what your house is going for. And I was just shocked at seeing where our pricing was. So compared to what we bought it at. So, well, guys, hey, like I said, for everyone that's watching, give Rocco a shot. If you are a lender that is also, if you're a lender that's watching as well, obviously, and you're looking to maybe make a move and you're thinking about, going somewhere else, definitely check out Rocco. And if you're thinking about even just finding out what a refinance would look like, it's crazy what's out there right now. So that's why I was super pumped for this episode, because I know we're going to be able to give a ton of value because of how great things are. I've never seen this. I mean, literally probably in 20 years, I've never seen where the housing prices are up and the rates are low. It's a total win-win. So awesome. Well, Rocco, thank you so much for jumping on. And for everybody here, again, check out Rocco. The website's down below. We also put it in the comments. Thank you, Rocco, as well, for coming on.
Matt. I appreciate it. Yep. Have a good one, man.
All right, everybody. See you next week. Same time, same place. Take care.
Bye.